slowly dying. I don't want to sound depressive, but it's true. I mean, you're throwing your life away. Like a lot of those goals, they're there for you to go after them, you know. And so I'm very, very thankful that we're talking about ways for people to actually go after them. That's wonderful.
Incremental, like you said, small steps, and not be afraid of the timeline that it's going to take you to get it done.
Yes, yes. Are you familiar with Jordan Peterson?
Very much so.
Yeah,
Yes. Yes.
I think I don't quote me on that, but he said something like most people don't plan their life 5 years ahead, and ideally everyone should plan their life 5 years ahead. That's a great thing to do, and I think it aligns a little bit with what we're talking right now. If you know where you're going, like. The chances of getting there just increases drastically, right? So, yeah, I love that guy.
Well, and to borrow from him also, one of the things that he, for example, actually my son followed what he did. I could never get my son to make his bed, but Jordan Peterson got my son to make his bed. And that became a habit. And so if you look at even the pursuit of your goal, that's 5 years ahead of time, it will establish some good habits in other areas of your life. Again, this interconnectivity and stuff. So yeah, I am a fan of his because he wants you to think ahead, but also not miss the details in your life, that small changes can have a big impact on what you decide to do.
You're talking about cleaning your room, right?
George, yeah, yep.
Could you expand a little bit more on that, because I feel like it's greatly misinterpreted, and I for many years like I didn't understand very much either, like the whole clean your home room thing.
So I have, as part of, as a matter of fact, I make the bed. My wife doesn't.
Okay.
It's a discipline of mine. What that does is when I make the bed, it becomes a trigger to me that the day has officially begun. And my mindset changes as a result. And so therefore I'm kind of like I'm moving from morning, getting up, getting ready, to now productivity has to begin. And that's a trigger for me. But the other aspect of like a clean room, it just is a sense of order. So our lives are chaos, really, if you look at it. We talked about the distractions of electronics, the demands of our time, just how much we are visually stimulated with overload. To me, an organized space, and I like my office to be organized, it is almost a Zen type quality where I get to walk into a space that is controlled. And that from that, I work from that controlled space. It just works beneficial for me. So something like even as simple as making the bed can be a mindset trigger that will help you go about the rest of your day with the right attitude.
I see. Okay, so by making your bed, you feel like you're being productive, and you have a more organized environment where you can also be productive. And I'm sure there's like also subconscious effect of being in a place that it's more pleasant, visually pleasant. Like I'm sure it also must make you. I don't know what I don't know where I'm going with this, but it must be beneficial, right? But one thing that I don't understand, David, I know a lot of artists. They work in the opposite environment. They have such a messy room, and that's where they thrive. That's where they become creative. What do you understand? I don't understand the logic behind that. Do you have a guess?
So I will use my wife as an example, and it's okay. She's heard this story many times, and I actually put it in my book. But if you look at my office and my wife's office, we both have home offices. They're next to each other. So if you look at my office, it's neat, it's clean, it's organized. I like it. If you look at her office, she's got stacks of paper. To me, it's just in order. I get anxious just being in her office. However, Bruno, if you were in our kitchen and you yelled, "Okay, Dave, go find this in your office, and Sue, go find this in your office," she's going to come out of her office with it and hand it to you quicker than I am. So one of the things I also work with clients is I have a preferred way that I would like you to live, but I also know that there are highly productive people that are in an environment that is messier than I like, but they operate really, really well. Where I challenge people is that if the mess bothers you, then you got to do something about it because it's inhibiting you from being productive. If you're able to work through that as an artist and things are stacked up everywhere, or I've been in people's offices and it doesn't bother you, then I'm kind of like, that's not your highest priority then on how you need to manage your time. Let's go deeper and understand where the other avenues are at before we address organization.
That's wonderful, David, because at least you let people know that that's a choice. That's something that they need to be more conscious about if they are more productive, and what type of environment they're more productive. Because that's not something that I ever thought about before. I started thinking about that when this show on Netflix came out, Marimeko, like minimalist show. I'm sorry, I don't remember the name of the show, but it was this sweet Japanese lady. She would help people declutter, and she goes to people's houses and help and tell them to hold objects in their hands, and you would have like this inner conversation with the object. Do you hold, while you hold the object, you ask yourself, you ask the object, do you bring joy into my life? And more often than not, you have an immediate answer, and then this would help people declutter stuff or not. And after I watched the show, I was like, that sounds fun. I'm gonna give it a try, right? And it turns out I just start throwing so much stuff away that I didn't need it, and I just felt better. And for the first time in my life, David, I start asking myself about